Now, if you are interested in Tales of Crestoria content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's a win-win situation. I make Tales of Crestoria content. You like Tales of Crestoria content, that's why you're here. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you in advance. Alright, let's get started. Let's get into this tier list. We'll start this off with Misella. Misella is a mere mortal. Her Mystic Art does 360% damage, but only with 5 hits. It's only a 170 OL, but at the same time, she's not really contributing to the hit count with any of her other attacks. And we know the name of the game in Tales of Crestoria. What is the name of the game of Tales of Crestoria? Hit count. We gotta get that hit count up, because if we're not getting that hit count up, what are we even doing here, folks? Alright, so next up we have Chrono. Chronos is basically in the same boat. He's not getting that hit count up. He's not really doing anything much. He seems to be a sweeper. I guess the AoE sweeper, but his AoE sweep is on a 5-turn cooldown, so I'm not exactly sure what the devs want to do with him, but he's not really good at anything currently in his current state. Next up we got Kohaku. Kohaku has a 20 hit Mystic Art with a cost of 160. That's not too bad, but other than that, she's not really doing much. Wait a minute. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and move Kohaku up to Demigod, because that 20 hit Mystic Art at 160 is not bad. She definitely attributes. Go ahead and put her like maybe first or second in the lineup. Yeah, she definitely contributes to the hit count. Alright, next up we have Rita. Rita does not contribute to the hit count much. Her Mystic Art does a high amount of has a high multiplier of 160, but with a pretty decent cost at 260, and only does 1 hit. She has an Art 2 that does 10 hits with a 3 cooldown, so it's not bad, not too bad, but doesn't really attribute to that hit count, and we need that hit count to skyrocket. We need it to be as high as possible when we're playing Tales of Crestoria. Next tier we have Demigod, and we're starting this off with, it pains me to say this, Velvet, because Velvet is waifu to me, and she has a 4-hit Mystic Art at 450% multiplier. Her attack stat is through the roof, but the cost for this Mystic Art is 270, so she's not gonna be getting that off too often. So I mean, this all sounds good. That high attack and that high multiplier on her attacks, they all sound good. It all at first glance makes it seem like it's a good package, but then when you get her and you start using her, you start to realize that yeah, she's not really doing much, and her multipliers are very low. And then if you're not, like I said, if you're not increasing that multiplier, what are we even doing here, folks? What are we doing here? You would think that she could also benefit from that multiplier, right, by having her last, but still that Mystic Art is very expensive at 270, a whopping 270. Wow. Next up we have Lloyd. Lloyd has high defense, and unfortunately his skills don't scale off defense. However, his Falcon Cress does 22 hits for a good amount of OL though, a 230 OL, and he has low cooldowns for decent hits. So he's not too bad, but he just won't be doing much damage. That's his. I'm guessing Kanonno, her Mystic Art does 360% damage with 10 hits for a decent 190 OL. Not bad. Her attack is decent. It's just that not too bad actually. The only problem here is that she's longsword. So not too many characters are longsword. Kind of the only drawback with her. She's not too bad. Not too bad. Does decent damage. Nice, you know, very cost effective OL and low cooldowns. So if you have her, if you got her, probably use her. Don't be shy with her. It's not too bad. Next up, we have Vicious. Vicious, his issue is his low attack. However, he has high multipliers on every skill, especially his Mystic Art, which is a 21 hit Mystic Art with a decent cost of 210. But all his attacks do double digit hits, so he would be a good addition to most teams just off of his hit account. But just don't expect him to do much damage. That's the only issue with him. Next up, we have Aegis. Aegis is the same deal as Lloyd. He has a decent Mystic Art with 350% multiplier, but only hits 6 times, but with a very low 140 OL, and most of his skills have decent hit counts with low cooldown rates, so he'll be a good addition to a team just to soak up some hits, but don't expect him to do much damage. Next up, we go into gods, god tier. We're starting to get into the characters that can actually finish off those hit counts, right? So, Kanata, biggest issue is being a longsword type, so he doesn't synergize with many other heroes based on type class. However, he has a decent attack. His Mystic Art doesn't cost too much OL at 180. It does 6 hits. What stands out with Kanata is his second art, Rending Bite, that hits all enemies. So he's a sweeper, but it also hits 7 times. And with a not too bad cooldown of 4 turns. So Kanata can be quite useful at sweeping, can be useful at doing damage. He has a decent multiplier on his Mystic Arts. He brings a lot to the table actually. Kanata. Next up we have Sori. Sori has a 60% chance on his Mystic Art to cast Wildfire on one enemy for 2 turns. What is Wildfire? Wildfire causes a portion of the damage that the target that has Wildfire to spread it to its allies. Right? So now not only when you damage that target of Wildfire, you are now damaging all the enemies. So you're doing AoE instead of single target damage. So that's kind of a big deal. Sori has great defense, decent attack. He has a nice hit count on his Art 2 of 13. But the biggest draw for Sori is definitely that Wildfire and Burn. Next up we have Reid. Reid hits 11 times on his Mystic Art for 240. Kind of steep. But that 380% multiplier is not bad. And his attack stat is pretty decent. But upon second assessment, we can go ahead and move Reid down to Demigod because his multipliers aren't that high on his active attacks, his Art 1 and Art 2, and they're on pretty long cooldowns. So yeah, he's essentially a lesser version of Velvet, but instead he additionally he causes burn. Finally, we are at the one above all tier, the tier that you want to pick from your selector, that if you're trying to reroll, you're trying to get one of these guys right here. And here we go. We started off with Luke. Luke has good attack and defense stats. Pretty nice. And a 25 hit Mystic Art at a mere 160 OL. So you're going to be getting that off a lot at a 240 multiplier. Not bad. One of his Mystic Arts also is an AoE 8 hit. It's at a 5 cooldown, but it hits 8 times in his AoE. So he can also sweep if that's what you're looking for. So not bad. Next up we have Yuri. Yuri stats are leaning towards the defensive side. He has a he has a mystic art that does 38 hits with a whopping 260 OL cost. Yikes! And his mystic art, his art 2 does 14 hits at a 5 turn cooldown. So we might have to let's reassess this for a second here. So we got a 38 hit, which is great, but costs 260. So we're not gonna get that too often. And one of his arts hits 14 times, but with a 5 turn cooldown. Yeah, I don't know if he's one above all. We're gonna have to make him a god. So we're gonna demote him to god. Alright, next up, we got Cress. Cress's high attack, decent defense stats. His mystic art hits 16 times for 310% multiplier for 180 OL cost. Not bad. His art 2, Phoenix Dance, hits 12 times at a 5 turn cooldown, but causes burn. So with Cress, you're getting a good multiplier with a good attack rating at a modest 180 OL cost, right? And then you're getting 12 hits on one of his arts, and it also has a chance to cause burn. Next up, we have Leon. Leon personifies this tier. He personifies exactly what you want to be doing in this game. One above all, and getting hit counts up. So here we go. Leon, his attack rating is through the roof. His defense is not too bad, although he can be the first one to bite the dust, if you know what I mean. But let's get started into his skills here. Mystic Art. His Mystic Art hits 29 times at only 150 OL. The only downside is the attack is only a 200% multiplier. So yikes on that one. But with an 80% chance to cause curse on one enemy for 2 turns. Alright. His other arts don't really get the hit count up, but they're on low cooldowns with decent multipliers for them. So he is definitely a good character to have. He's definitely one of the best characters to start out with. Leon. Ludger is pretty freaking good. That's why he's here in one above all, I guess. His attack stat is great. His defense is great too. Very interesting. His attack percentage on his Mystic Art is 340% for 15 hits, costing around 220. Not too bad. His first art has a 100% chance to decrease attack by 5% for 2 turns, and hits for 6 on a 2-turn cooldown. His second art has a 100% chance of reducing defense by 10% for 2 turns, hits for 7 times on a 4-turn cooldown. So he is a good package. He's like a debuffer, and at the same time he's still attributing to that hit count, and he's doing a lot of damage while he's doing that. Ludger is definitely a character that you should look out for in rerolls and your selector. So it looks like I missed 2. So let's start with Asbel. Alright, so Asbel starts off strong. His attack is pretty high. His defense is not too bad. His first Mystic Art, 370% multiplier. Not bad. That hits 9 with a OL cost of 210. Pretty decent. And then we got his first art. Increases his attack by 10% for 2 turns for 8 hits. And the only downside here is his second art hits only 1 time with a 5-turn cooldown. So I'm guessing because that attack's multiplier is 240. So he's not bad. There's definitely better heroes out there. Go ahead and put Asbel at, I'd say, demigod. And then finally we have Jude. Jude has good attack and good defense. His Mystic Art has a 280% multiplier for 13 hits at a mere 130 OL. Wow. His first art hits 10 times at a 2-turn cooldown, not bad. His second art hits 3 times with a 5-turn cooldown, but increases his attack by 10% for 2 turns. So Jude is pretty good. Jude is what I would call a god. So that wraps this up. This is my Tales of Crestoria tier list. Leave a like if you enjoy. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about the tier list. Tell me how it makes you feel. Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel bad? Subscribe if you're new. And until next time, it's been your host, Gigi God, signing off. Goodbye.